controversial subjects with the facts can be tense, but we are Ace Up Science here to make things make sense. My foot literally just fell asleep and it really hurts, like pins and needles.
Pins and needles are wild. Do I write it down? Is that an app?
Like, is there enough for that?
Yeah. Okay. I don't know. You know how often we do this, and then I look at them, I'm like, that's weird. I just wrote abstinence.
Oh, that was pretty good, actually.
Yeah, you think? Should we do abstinence?
Yeah.
But we're just gonna be like, yeah, dumb idea to teach abstinence, and then move on. But I guess there might be interesting
just
things.
write pins and needles for now.
Okay.
And y'all can sound off.
So
pins and needles sounds great. I feel like we're gonna talk about cold showers, and I feel like what prompted this also was a bit of us like we were just away and we weren't showering because we were like on a lake in a cabin. And
yeah, so we didn't
living.
shower for 2 weeks.
Literally 2 full
Let's
weeks.
go.
And obviously that is like not totally linked to cold showers, but we had experience coming home.
Wait, what did you say?
I said
Obviously,
that's
that's
like
not
not-
musical chairs.
Oh, no, I forgot what I said. Not totally related to cold showers is what I think I was trying to say. Like, but it just made us think of showering, which we're going to talk about today, and whether or not like you need to do it that often.
But also, it's because the lake was quote unquote cold,
Yeah.
and you were swimming in it, and I think maybe could have felt the effects of the Wim Hof of it all, because
Yeah.
you do and have since then been like coming, like walking down the stairs like loopy, like just had a hot shower midday, now I can't do anything.
Yeah, this happens to me all the time.
And I'm like, then have a cold one.
I know, and I am changing my mind, and I'm going to come around to it, but where do you want to start with this?
Okay, let me start because I got Roman bath history to go in with.
Oh, whoa.
So Roman bathing. Also, do not ask me when that was.
Oh, no, isn't the
I
Greek
hate
bathing
that.
hot? Greek bathing is gay.
They probably all were.
No, I think
Everyone's
Romans were
gay.
anti-gay. Romans
What?
were anti-gay, I thought.
No, but like, no, I
don't know
anti-gay.
history. You
People
shouldn't
who
listen
like
to me about anything to do with
people who have sex, men who have sex with men are also anti-gay.
Oh.
I'm just
fair.
saying for
Go ahead.
sure Romans had sex. Men had sex with men.
Sure,
women had
sure,
sex with
sure,
women.
sure.
Anyways, in my history course, Roman bathing is gay. But it was based around the practice of moving through a series of heated rooms that would always culminate in like a cold room. So that's when like the first, like, now that everyone's cold bathing again, they're like, the Romans did it. And now everyone's obsessed with being like,
Interesting. How'd they get it cold?
it was deep. It was like caves.
I see. It was
So
like
they would like go into the
natural,
ground.
whatever.
Yeah. And essentially, like, there is a lot of studies we're going to talk about today claiming a lot of positive benefits from cold showers, cold bathing, which could be jumping in like a really cold body of water, or like those cryo chamber things. But most of the things that I'm talking about are just cold showers, things that you can do with cold showers.
Okay.
Like essentially studies done on people taking cold showers. But I also decided this week to listen to like a bunch of podcasts, like typed in like cold shower science, and like it is actually insane what people are saying out there. Like, based on this science I read, it was a lot different than like what information people are getting from pop science type podcast places. Like, for example, it doesn't have an immune
Boosting impact.
potential. Like,
Yeah,
whenever
there's
you look in
definitely
that
a
stuff,
whole
it's crazy.
culture that has evolved, I think, around cold showers that has probably been blown out of proportion.
Yeah.
Probably comes from some, and we'll talk about like the legitimate research that's been done and the interesting findings
Yes.
and interesting hypotheses and theories. But like the way it's taken a grip of like masculine culture.
It's insane. So wait, the guy
Like,
I'm trying
remember
to
when you
figure
told me
out.
also about that breathing book? It was like, breathe through your nose.
Oh my god. Okay.
And it was like every man was like, did you know if you breathe through your nose,
Like you'll
be
live
invincible?"
forever. Okay, I'm so sorry. Everyone, probably tons of you have read the book Breath. Like, there's a bunch of amazing parts about like lungs and how they work, and lungs are so interesting and cool. It's where carbon dioxide goddamn leaves and where oxygen goes in. It's like such a cool process. So the first like quarter of the book is amazing scientific like literature, like really well done, to the point that I was like, this is so fun to read. Then it just goes off the motherfucking rails. And it's like, because it was so good at the beginning, I think people really buy into this hard science. And then he quickly switches his tone to this insane like shit. And I think so many people buy it because they were almost like hooked by the beginning. And it's very similar to what's happening with the cold showers thing. So there's this guy, he's like super jacked. He's like always on, he's like the #1 like podcast about cold showers. I forget his name. I'm going to look him up. But essentially what he
But you don't mean Wim Hof, who kind of like invented the cold bath.
No, like he's a whole other thing. And like, yeah, good for you. Like, I didn't know you could get famous from just like getting in cold water, but he was able to do that. But this guy, it's like, so for example, like there's this study that he keeps talking about, and it's like very like, I'm trying to find him. It's very like compelling because the self-reported results are really positive from people.
Right.
Huberman Lab.
Okay.
SciComm Media, the Huberman Lab podcast. And I know I've like seen so many like sexy, like gay, masculine men be like, new Huberman app's amazing. It's like it's very like, the guy's jacked and he's just telling you how to like live your life better. Okay. He's just the new version
beyond
of that.
Just cold showers. It's like a self-help.
But like but he truly has like 17 episodes about cold showers and I listened to them and I was just like, this is crazy. So there's this one study where they got people to have cold showers for 30 seconds, 60 seconds, and 90 seconds. And they essentially and then people who didn't have cold showers at all, they tried and asked them to do it every single day, twice a day, different amounts of people. Some people did it, some people didn't. And the results were like amazing in the sense that they were like, I felt so much better. And there's this interesting thing that happened that he does not explain well, which is that their self-reported sick days went down, but their illness days didn't go down. Yeah.
Right.
So it's like those days
they felt it's like they actually called in sick less to work, but they were just as sick through the year.
Yes. So it's like there are days where you likely call in sick and maybe you're like, never mind. Like I'm actually like, you know what I mean? Like you might actually like be like, I thought I was getting sick. You're actually fine. But their actual illness days were they didn't get sick less. They thought they were sick less.
Yes.
And they definitely felt like they had increased energy. And there are studies like done on mice and done on people to find that there are like specific cytokines and chemicals that do get released because you're essentially putting your body under like quick stress. So there's a lot of like fascinating science to back up what could be happening, but none of it is like corroborated. And whenever you get into the immune function of it all, it falls apart. And one thing that bothers me is that like, if you actually want to help your immune system, you got a vaccine. Like, you know what I mean? I'm like, there's like a subset biochemical
of people who
science.
Will be like, I'm only going to do these natural things.
Yeah. But even just like we got our 4th dose recently and I was like, this is the gym. This is the only thing that's kind of like quote unquote the gym for my immune system.
Fair. And like we understand the mechanism
how it works. Yes.
Scientists can go down to the microscopic level and say like, here's what the proteins are doing. Here's what's changing. Here's how it binds. Here's how it goes through your DNA. Like, it's like that specific. And
I looked hard. There is none of that for immune function for cold showers, but people are telling you that there is.
Right. Because a lot of it's around like reporting, feeling better. And maybe there's outcomes in some studies. This is just anecdotal. I'm not saying I saw them. Perhaps there are some studies that show that people didn't get sick as much, but that's still interesting. I think it goes back to our conversation earlier where it's like, sometimes you have to leave room that just because something isn't proven yet.
Yes, for sure.
It might not be in the future.
No, I honestly think
they might be validated in everything they're saying.
I had a cold shower before this. I love cold showers, but I'm not sitting there being like, well, not going to get sick today. I'm just like, it does wake me up. It does cause a specific shock and stress response that works. Like I genuinely, like there are a lot of interesting like beta endorphins that get released in mice and like things where I'm like, it's not ever, I think, going to be a bad thing.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I'm enjoying it.
And it's related to something called like hormesis. You ever heard of her? Basically,
okay, coming to the stage. Snatch the fan for the clap, clap, clap. Oh, we haven't talked about Beyonce. Continue.
Oh my God, hormesis is a really good drag name.
It's such a good drag name. Do you want it or do I want it? I don't know.
We'll debate that.
Right, continue.
But basically that's just like the idea that a level of stress on your body can be good.
Yes.
Obviously, when you go to the extreme, your body falters, but this is why exercise is good. You're going through hormesis, you're stressing your body, and as a result, it's like oxidative stress, which is not good in like large amounts. If you deprive your body of oxygen, you die. But in like these quantities that are like stressing you, but not too much, it can trigger a lot of great things in your body. It
Yeah.
triggers, in the case of like exercise, immune response. It increases like blood flow. It increases like all these different biological markers, which they can see. And what I find really interesting related to most of these hormesis things is that they often more recently have been linked to like increasing lifespan. That's been like a lot of research from like, there's a book called Lifespan by David St. Clair I really liked. I think it is somewhat not controversial, but I know like he sometimes gets criticized because he has very intense beliefs, and he's kind of on the cutting edge of like these mice studies.
Wait, does he think that cold
He
therapy
mentioned there's a very short moment in the book about cold showers, and he talks about like some of the possible mechanisms there might be, and that there is evidence that it increases lifespan, but it's like just one small section. But it's all to do with that same idea of like these stressors. It says there's a lot more like there's also some evidence for saunas, so people who are in saunas and like when they put test subjects like mice and stuff through like heat extremes, you see a similar thing, but there's way more evidence for cold.
Yeah,
which is interesting. So it's nice. It's not nice, but it's interesting that he was able to say saunas might work too, but there's not nearly as much evidence.
Well, it's kind of one of those things like it's like this happens so much with pop science. It's like these are really cool studies, like cold plunging, all these things. They are like I do them. It was my personality for a winter, 2 winters ago. I would go to Lake Ontario. I would jump in the water. People would be watching me. People would like literally clap. I'd be like, slap, da-ding, da-da, clap, clap, clap. Like I was just like voguing out of the water. Like Hormesis is here. Like I felt so good. And they were like, oh my God, you must like love Wim Hof. You're going to live forever. And I'd be like, okay, like what? No. Like I'm doing this. It makes me feel amazing. There is like a documented sort of personal in my journaling, I'm like, I just had a cold. I like read what I wrote, and it's like, I'm fucking high on life. Like that is a fine thing to feel, but it's just when things get pushed so far to be like, now you're gonna like, live longer. It's like, okay, maybe in the future there will be some crazy small like statistic that stands out like that, but you can't jump in cold water and expect they're gonna live longer. Life is so much more complicated than that, and I mean, it's just weird how these things get pulled so into like the zeitgeist in these weird ways from science.
Yeah,
from
because
science.
honestly, it is a simple solution, and everyone kind of wants a simple solution, right? And it's the perfect thing. It's the Buckleys of health, where you're like they make it taste bad, so you think you're getting better. So it's like it doesn't have to taste bad.
Yeah.
The cold shower gives you enough of a oh my God.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it doesn't help at all, and I don't know about Buckley's.
No,
I've never
it does help.
Yeah,
we know
but that moment mentally, it is also like I think key for a lot of people thinking it's a short-term pain, but then I get all this gain from it, right?
Yeah,
it's kind of like when people would rather have a pill that can make you fit than like work out for years and years and years and years. It's like really exhausting to think about that. If you could just do something for 15 seconds a day and be like healthy, that's like a pretty amazing claim. It's why I think people buy into it.
That's interesting. That's a really good point, because it's like it's hard enough, but it's actually not that hard to do.
You can viscerally feel the difference. Your body clenches. You probably I don't do this, so I don't actually know.
Just turn a dial on your goddamn shower. Well, it's very easy.
Yeah, you can do it easily. Yeah.
Know what I do? This is a really fun ritual. I want everyone to enjoy this. So first of all, I don't really have hot showers to begin with. Like they're always like warm to start. Then depending on my vibe of how I just woke up, like if I'm like pep in my step, I'm like, I think I might have already said this, I only do a 7-second cold. Okay. If I'm hungover, I'm like, we might have to do 30 seconds to a minute, because it's like you're so suffering that like you need to go.
It's like so much worse to me when I'm suffering and make myself suffer more.
Because it's like how much do you need in my head is like what I do, and it's really fun. Like just now, because I was doing
it for me, I'm like, okay, am I taking 2 pills or am I taking 4?
Exactly. Pre-podcast, I was like, yo, I'm going to have to do at least 20 seconds. Yo, I'm going to have to do at least 20 seconds, because I'm like having to be peppy. And it's fun. It's honestly fun. It's like nothing bad is going to come from it. You're going to feel good. There's a lot of amazing science to explain why you will feel better. Why not even placebo vibes. Like there are specific chemicals that it does release. It causes a stress response. There's like when you do cold plunges, only thing you kind of have to know is that you can have this like gasp moment, like it's like cold shock.
Oh, your body like automatically does, you mean?
Yeah, it's called a cold shock response. So it's why like whenever someone's like, this is an amazing thing to do with no danger, like sometimes the Wim Hof of it all is like, like they try and make it seem super dangerous and cool. But really what it is that if you jump into a really cold body of water that's like deep, you might have this cold shock response that causes you to gasp and suck water in. So you could like quote unquote.
I see, that is dangerous.
That is that is dangerous, but it's like,
so like that's actually dangerous.
But I've done this so many times where I'm like, okay, like you can just jump in, not up under, like it's only an immediate thing. I just think I think it's like just do it and don't worry about the cold response because it's not as big a deal.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't think I'm ever going to jump into a frozen lake. Like no matter what, even if I found out this was like make me live forever, in that case, maybe. But I think like
it's why not many people do it.
I don't like the shower aspect of it. I'm like, okay, I could every now and then. I certainly don't love the idea because in the morning, you're much more a morning person than I am. Like I feel like I'm way more likely to be kind of grumpy and off in the morning. I think a cold shower could make that worse. But maybe I'll try and maybe it'll make it better.
Well, okay, you also have like a relatively like
low pain tolerance.
No, I think your life's like. From what I've read, and there was a book that got me into this.
What were you about to say? My life is a what?
Like pretty good. Like you don't like I've read about people who have resorted to this.
Your life is so bad.
No,
you definitely need the cold
shower. My life is so good. And I'm doing this is just to put a little icing on the cake that is my life. But I'm saying there are people like who there's some pretty valid arguments about how it can help with like pain therapy, like people who are in a lot of extreme pain. And there's some funny studies that think like you're just putting yourself in all these painful situations that other pain feels less painful. There's a similar study that I don't really love with depression. Like it's when you read it, it's kind of vague. But again, with self-reported people with depression, it is found to help. They don't know why. One theory is literally that you build, because over time you build a tolerance to the cold like really quickly within weeks. Like people who are doing cold plunges can start to last minutes to 2 minutes, like after
your body
like, being
just like
shocked the first time. And they think that it's helping you deal with depression because you're literally just like adapting to stress and adapting to these things that I'm like,
doesn't
that
it also
seems
release like, positive hormones?
Sorry.
Like dopamine and stuff like that.
It does. But sorry, they said parts of that in it, which I don't like. Or I'm just like, that's kind of vague. But like, if you're someone with depression and you're doing this and it's helping you, like that's
for sure.
Yeah.
That's like, it's nice because it is harmless in that sense. Like everyone needs to know, like the goal is not to get hypothermia, but no one's really going to do that.
If your joints in your fingers or thumbs start to hurt, that's when you know you're getting close to hypothermia and get out.
Yeah, but if you're doing it in your shower, it's very unlikely.
No, you're not going to hurt
yourself. So that's why it's kind of like, why poo on it? It's like, even if it's not fully substantiated and you're in the shower, you can poo on it and you can wash it off.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's like, exactly.
It's just like, why it's not hurting anyone.
I think
if it makes you feel good,
needs to have a cold shower today who's listening.
Today?
Yeah, just do it.
And you mean like cold enough that it shocks you?
Yeah, I go like on my little dial all the way to the left. Or
that's sick.
It's not.
No, like I've literally never gone even close to that.
Okay, well,
on our dial.
Well, then you're gonna feel absolutely amazing after.
I think like okay. So this got brought up too because and I talked about it before going to the cottage. Like I have a severe fear of cold water in particular, but in general, like maybe our tolerances are just different. But this was my goal at the cottage at the lake was to go in every day and force myself, try to get through this mental barrier. I did. It wasn't so cold, to be honest, right? Like it was cold to me, but I think like it wasn't like anything near ice water. Like
no, it wasn't. But it was still cold. I usually
would go for a run and then I'd be like, it's really nice.
That makes it even cold.
I know, but when you're like really sweating, it can feel really nice to cool down that way. I don't know why I'm saying this. Just to say,
well, I would say then you came back and went in the shower and you were like, I've completely changed my perspective.
That is true. So what I found interesting was when I sadly hate to admit this, I really like really hot showers. Like it feels so good to me. So I typically have always had a hot shower, but after being there and coming back, I put the shower to where I normally would, and it was way too hot.
Yeah, that's what we're saying. You get adapted.
Like, not that I wanted it freezing, but I put it to like a much cooler temperature than I would, and I thought that was interesting. So you're right. I probably just need more time to adapt, and I think I've heard people say like instead of trying to go all the way freezing first, you just like do a little bit.
Oh, okay.
You're telling everyone to.
I say everyone go all the way freezing. I'm literally just like
I can't. That's like literal torture.
It's not. We're doing an episode about how
literal torque.
We're talking about how it's going to improve your energy, improve your cognitive ability, make you feel better. There's random stuff saying.
Even when I go in the lake,
that's fine. I scream too. That's part of it. And it's okay. Apparently, after only 6 immersions, the cold shock response gets like halved when you're doing it in the like ice lakes. Like your body can adapt to this stuff quickly. Like do it for 1 second, then 2, then 3, then 4.
So yeah,
like it's not something that's gonna like
shock you.
You're gonna like have sort of like progression with it, which will feel cool. You're gonna get better at dealing with cold water, and it's only going to help you. Like the studies only say it could help.
I think there might be people out there like me that if they go too cold too fast, might not like it.
Yeah, maybe.
You know, like
but
it's like working out too hard too fast.
Yeah, okay.
Your body for a week.
Fine. I'm just trying to tell people to do something cool.
Okay.
And there's also a really cool study that the NHS did during the pandemic that the results aren't out for, where half of the nurses at hospitals would not go cold plunge and the other half would have to go cold plunging, and they saw really positive results for like coping with the pandemic as healthcare professionals. Annoying because all it says was really positive responses and the study's not out, so I'm like, I'd love to read that. But like there are people and places who are actually saying we could like quote unquote diagnose cold plunging to help deal with maybe stress and things like that.
Yeah, and I think that's really cool. I love that's like it's cool that exercise and healthy eating and this kind of stuff can be a first-hand diagnosis or even just like over medicine. Like it's a great. I'm not saying don't take your medicine. I'm just saying it's awesome to realize that there are lots of these things that we realize, even like yoga and just like deep breathing. I'm not talking about that book, but just in like that kind of like soft breathing, meditative way can be actually really helpful.
Yeah,
it's actually good for you.
This is just breath all over again. It's like obviously breathing's good. Like obviously like slow breathing, we know that that's good. There's really cool information about what it can do to like your parasympathetic nervous system. Like these things are good. Cold showers are good. I encourage everyone to have cold showers.
Well, I remember,
but it's like don't take it so far, people.
I had heard that sometimes people who smoke cigarettes carry a lot less tension in their shoulders, and that it was hypothesized that's because they breathe deeply so much more often.
Whoa, that's cool.
I mean, so it's like it is interesting to
do yoga.
Probably, like introducing.
Don't smoke, do yoga.
Yeah, exactly. And I think with the temperature thing, it's like humans probably were subject. Like we live in temperature-controlled environments all the time now. Our bodies are obviously designed to be in pretty extreme temperatures, like to be going from really, like especially for communities that live like where we do naturally before we had like homes and heating and air conditioning, would go through really extreme temperatures. And so it's kind of like, okay, that's probably like a normal state to be like going from one to the other.
It's also like when I think about the future, I just think about heat waves and death from heat and hot and the lack of coldness on our planet, that I, in the winter, like to cold plunge because I'm just like, this is a unique thing to be able to do right now on our planet with global warming and climate change. Like it's a gift that I get this gorgeous freezing lake that I can just literally bike to and jump in. Whereas like in the future, it's like, I don't know how cold that lake's ever going to be. No, I'm serious. Like there's a part of me that's like enjoy it while you can. Which I think is like has nothing to do with the science of why cold showers are helpful, but it's like a nice
motivator for you. Or and even to appreciate coldness. While we have it,
because so many people are like, especially in Canada, it's like people complain about the winter so much, and then it's just like the summer comes and everyone's like, well, we're dying from heat. And it's like,
and more people, at least where we live, are like, remember when there was like snow on Christmas? It's like, it's so much more rare now. When we were kids, it was like, it would always snow on Christmas. I know this is,
but
like,
then it still does.
It still does, but like anecdotally, it feels like less often.
Yeah, I never know if that's true. Like, I just want to read because I always am just like, is that just something that like we say? Because like Canadians love talking about weather. It's like all we can talk about. Because like when I think about the like half a meter of snow we got this year, it's like
this year wasn't
that around Christmas? It was crazy.
But
remember, and like the city just shut down for 3 days because it was actually like no one could move. Like things like that where I'm like, that was crazy. Like that was
true. Like we are still getting
so much snow that I actually couldn't believe it. I still can't believe it.
Before I don't know if it's okay if I like switch the topic to just showering in general.
Oh, I was like, to Beyonce, sure, great album. Okay,
Beyonce. We can talk about that.
no, I want to talk about actual showering because I don't
because
know.
that was the other element of being at the lake, is that we truly didn't shower for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I didn't smell, and obviously like it's hard to know, but I don't think I did. That bad.
But then we came home and I smelled my bag and I almost ralphed.
Yeah, me too.
So I'm like, what was that?
Okay. So here's what I think. Well, interesting little tidbit. If you spend 15 minutes a day washing, like in a shower.
What? That's a lot.
But for some people, it's not. Like some people like shower for like half an hour. Isn't that?
What?
That's the problem. I know. Like I truly think my showers are 3 minutes.
I'm a white person. I don't wash my legs. I shower in like 30 seconds.
Well, your fucking cold shower is 30 seconds, you said.
Okay, fine. I'm hot for 10 and I wash for 10 seconds. 30
so
seconds
I rounded this down because the stat was 30 minutes and I was like, that's insane.
What?
But this was half of that. So if you do 15 minutes a day and you happen to live to 100, you would spend almost 10,000 hours of your life washing like in a shower, which is more than a year of your life. So the person's argument was like you could get a year of your life back, or like some of that.
Well,
time
but some
back.
people enjoy that, obviously.
Yeah,
right?
it's true. And like,
but no, wait. We need to like, you need to come sit in front of us and explain to us why you're washing yourself for 15 minutes.
Long.
But again, I am a white person who like is gross, so I don't know if I have a great.
Well,
example.
that's what. So I read this other book called Clean a while back, and I was going to make an episode on it. I tried to stop showering, and it was a really hard experience.
But you just did it for 2 weeks.
I know. But you know what? We had a lake. That was what the difference was.
Oh, like you can't go in water.
Yeah. So when I stopped showering, I really was like, my skin is getting so greasy. I feel like I'm so associating showering with waking up. At least at the cottage, I would jump in the water. I'd feel refreshed.
Wow, someone likes a cold plunge.
Well, not even cold, but you know what I'm saying, right? It's a totally different thing. Like we had access, and I'm just thinking that's why we weren't smelling so bad, is because we were going in the water. I would like rub my body in the water to like make myself like get rid of whatever was there. But this book goes into a lot how we have been over conditioned to think that we need to wash way more than we actually probably do.
Yeah.
And I was like, I really need to change that, because I do have a shower every morning. Granted, it is only a few minutes and it's quick, and I don't wash my whole body. But and like hygiene's obviously so important. It's an amazing adaptation humans have come up with. I didn't know this, but hygiene actually means disease avoidance is the technical term. So in animals, they measure this.
They have hygiene.
Yeah, like birds, like monkeys, bats. They pick things out of each other. It's not just like necessarily washing in water. It's just about like literally avoiding crabs. Avoid crabs that have parasites.
Animals have so much hygiene.
Yeah. It was like raccoons, badgers, and lemurs have designated latrine sites where they go to the bathroom.
Oh my God, I love that.
They're aware that there's like
that bird video.
Oh yeah,
we saw the coolest video of. Yeah, go.
You go.
Oh.
Well, it was just saying like birds don't defecate in their own nest, like they.
Yeah,
know.
we saw this. Like my friend showed me this video of a baby bird. Okay, we could not figure out what was happening, but it was a baby bird taking a shit. But the shit that came out looked like a gorgeous, perfect membrane sac balloon that the mom immediately grabbed with her beak and flew off. And we found out that it's like the young birds will shit like with a membrane around it, so that the parents can make sure that they can get any diseases away from the nest. Also, if they shat in the nest, it would attract from smell like lots of predators, and that the like mother birds will fly to different sites to drop it in order to make sure that like it doesn't show where their nest is. Some birds will always make sure they drop it into water, but it was the coolest little. I'm gonna put it on our Instagram.
Never ever seen that happen ever before.
It was amazing. Birds are so cool, and
literally,
they're more evolved
little
than
baby
us.
bird just like flipped its butt up. A little like balloon came out. The mother took it, or father. I'm assuming it's the mother, but I don't know, and flew away.
Yeah,
and we were just like, "What just happened?"
It was so cool. Like we were like. It was amazing to watch. I will put it on our Instagram when this comes out tomorrow. Go to ASAP Science Instagram. You'll see a cool balloon shit. But it's a great example of hygiene.
But think about going back to like humans have kind of like over commoditized hygiene to cleanliness, right? So the book makes a big distinction between being clean and being hygienic. Like hygiene is super important. And in fact, it's like in the book they state that it's one of the most cost-effective methods of like taking care of humans. Like looking at hygiene is like an amazing thing that we have to do.
As someone who's unhygienic, I'm like, okay, I need to
Well, it's like
remember
toilets and water. You are not unhygienic.
No, but I always-
no one
I-
really in the Western world, like if you have access to proper toilets, showers, like
No, but before COVID, I was like, people will wash their hands when they leave the subway. I'd never thought of that. And everyone was like, yeah, that's disgusting. And I was like, I've never thought that. I like eat a bag of chips on the subway and like rub it on the
but
pole.
you're alive and you're fine. And
That's what I'm saying. I'm unhygienic though.
But that's maybe could be like hygienic, but I think like in some ways it might be going
piss,
to the
piss,
extreme.
piss, piss. Never wash my hands.
Constantly washing hands, right? Because you have to remember that we have like microbes that are really important for us, and every time you wash your hands or wash your body, you're actually stripping them off your body, and that is why they believe. So this happened to me when I stopped showering. I felt like so greasy.
Yeah.
And the thought is that it's because the microbes are gone, and so it takes a while for them to repopulate before they'll eat the oil on your skin again. It's
Cool.
like you're literally in harmony, right? And a balance with like the way nature is.
So it will over time. You will be less greasy.
Yeah, and I've done that with my hair. Like I really rarely wash my hair. I remember when I first started, it was really hard. It was like really greasy. It was easier because I could cut my hair short, and then there's a lot
That's
less
cool.
grease. But I just thought that was interesting. I also thought it was interesting that soap operas were literally designed to sell soap. Did you know?
What?
Like it made me think of
Soap operas?
yeah, soap operas. It was like they started as like audio talkies is what they were called, and they played during the day when mostly like housewives were able to like listen to radio, and so they would be like selling products through these like stories. Isn't that crazy? And
Also,
over time,
soap is evil because
Well-
no, Lever, the company, like was from British colonization, went to like the Democratic Republic of Congo, the current place, took it over and named a literal city called like Leverville, where they enslaved people to create palm, like in these horrible positions to get the palm oil to come back to Britain to make soap. And then that became Unilever, and it's like their history is a truly colonizing a country and using
stripping their
British rule
resources.
and capitalism to just make soap, and like demolished this like part of the Democratic Republic of Congo. Then they just picked up and left, and they're still suffering from it. So it's like,
Yeah.
that's soap. Also that we could wipe our ass. Okay, sorry. I hate soap. Wow. I'm only cold showering with no soap from now on.
But-
I'm kidding. That's not true.
I'm not saying soap isn't important, by the way.
Oh, what?
Like,
Okay.
like soap is important.
Oh,
to
it's because you said
hygiene.
soap operas. It just made me mad for some reason.
No, I mean obviously.
No, soap is important. I know.
That is part of hygiene, right? So like, but it's like kind of the amount and the obsession that our culture goes to. I
Yeah.
think that some scientists and groups of people try to fight back against, to be like, you don't have to shower as much. Like you don't have to literally scrub your body every day. That's not what being hygienic is. And that is often intertwined with like capitalistic endeavors.
Yeah.
BO, body odor, was also a marketing term that was first invented.
Whoa.
And that was then correlated with the sale of deodorants. And it was like, do you want to hide your smell? And it was marketed to people because body odor at first was like a problem for like a subset of the of people, but then it started getting marketed to people as a preventative measure. Just in case you don't realize you have it, make sure you buy this. And so like it is intertwined with a good thing, being clean and making sure you're not getting sick. But then it's also like then taken advantage of.
And we get our soap from Nate Makes Soap. My friend makes the soap. I would encourage everyone to look on that bottle, and if it says Unilever, don't buy it. Don't buy a bottle.
True.
Buy soap
and,
that's
or,
like handmade.
Also we use soap from Refill Depot as well.
Yeah.
That is like at least you're supporting like less packaging and waste as well.
Yeah, it's true. When we went to get our 4th dose, I had to kill time after like the 5 minutes just to like make sure I was fine. And I was walking up and down the aisles of like Shoppers Drug Mart, which is like our CVS or like a pharmacy, and was like, this is hell. Like just like the shampoo place, I was like, no, like what? There's so many
Hundreds of
things, like
bottles.
hundreds of bottles. It's so busy. People are like basing their personality around like which is the one that they use.
I
Like
mean, it's hard not to fall prey to. If it's not that, it could be something else. It could be other skin treatments that you do. Like everyone's kind of has their thing that they.
I'm just saying it's
into.
surprising. Like when you go to those places, you see like how many options there are, and you're like, this is insane. Because when it comes down to it, like it's soap. Like when it comes down to the soap that you're buying, it's like it's soap or body wash.
Right.
It's
For the
so
most
weird.
part, yeah. Like it's like a very simple thing that people can literally make themselves.
Yeah.
That it's not like there's some crazy
Yeah.
smart genius
And
who
they
has
have
a new
the
brand
coolest
of soap.
packaging and all these ways to like tell you crazy shit that it would do, but in your head it's like, it's not doing that.
It's soap.
Yeah.
It's not that deep.
It's not that deep. Cool.
Yeah, that was kind of all I had to say.
No, that was fun. I'm going to have cold showers. I'm going to use soap still, don't worry, but maybe like less. I don't know.
Yeah, I would
You?
like to try to shower less, but I think it will be hard because it is also so embedded in my morning routine that I like when I tried it. Like I would like to make this a goal. I was obviously able to do it when I was at the lake, but I had that water to go. To me, it's like I don't need to wash my body. I just like sometimes just like getting wet is nice.
I'm going to
and
keep having
drying off
showers
and,
for
like,
sure. I love a
so,
shower.
but I appreciate people who
don't.
well, like there's a lot of people who are like every 3 days, every 4 days, every 5 days shower.
Yeah, that's
and
cool.
don't and aren't gross.
Yeah.
You know, there's a point when you have to realize if you smell, but that could be more a problem of like wearing the same clothes or you know like if you change and wear I don't know. But I'm gonna try that and we'll see if I try cold showers. I might try like a lukewarm shower first.
Find out next week if his lukewarm shower does anything. Okay, it won't. Push.
Bye.